Well, at least we accomplished that, for the most part. While the practice have been shown to be effective in curing the tempered, Tiamat has been considered a special case. She is far larger and admittedly more powerful than any subject treated thus far. We were to remove her restraints only to find that the process had failed. We would have hard pressed to contain her. Then, before going ahead, we should learn as much as we can about the exact nature of her condition. Do you suppose you could find that information here? To be honest, I don't see why not, because we're here in Isola, so we could find some information in some old abandoned research facility or something. Why yes, we can. We can indeed. The Elegants kept detailed records on all of their notable captives, and I know exactly where to look. We shall leave that to you then. In the meantime, the rest of us can turn thoughts to removal of those shackles. I know Alphanod and Notorious here are well enough, but do you? Are you certain you're ready to see this through? Rest assured, Sir Insidian, that I am both ready and willing to give my all for the sake of this Tsar. Though, this is not my only reason for wanting to set Tiamat free. While I do not claim to know all of her sorrow, I too once forced myself into a prison of despair. And I well understand how hard it can be to dare to dream of escape. It took the encouragement of braver souls than I am to take the first step towards a brighter future. And now, I would help Tiamat do the same. I get you're not as young as you look, given the fact you don't know how long he was living in the First for this long ass time. Mayhap when our work here is done, we could trade tales over a pot of Tataru's famous tea. And be indebted to her for the leaves and hot water? I think not. I see. Returning swiftly to the task at hand then. I believe the node governing Tiamat's restraints are located in the sector known as the flagship. Ah, yes, we were familiar with it. The Intermetrical Research Facility in particular, since we've been there once and twice before. Oh, and you may wish to take this, a spiritual vessel containing a small amount of my blood. Which just happens to be carrying around with you? I suppose that could be rather odd. To explain, Rambon, Yuhinger, and I are researching the uses of spirit vessels in the transference not only of memories, but the traits of a certain bloodlines. And so, I keep one in ready should the opportunity to test our theory arises. As for it to use to you may recall during our previous visit, the nodes here granted access to restricted functions, having identified me as being of royal blood. And armed with a spirit vessel, I post that they will not do the same for you, even if it is the absence of, well, the rest of me. It would seem worth a try, at least. Agreed. We'll take good care of it. To the flagship, then. Alright, onward to the flagship. So where is Mr. Flagship? Where? Oh, it's right over there. Okay. Up, and away! Oops, wrong button. Where's the... Jump down, there we go. Let us split up and search the flagship for the node that controls Tiamat's restraints. But should you find a likely candidate, do not be tempted to make any adjustments. It would not do to accidentally some manner experimental monstrosity, not less Tiamat herself in her current state. Our objective in this stage is to simply to identify the relevant node or nodes. Once we can learn what we can, we should reconvene and compare notes prior to proceeding. Alright. So, hopefully none of these creatures remind me of some over level and shit. Okay, so it should be around here of this node. Grr. Data link with Delta Quadrant broken. Props cause intruder interference. Advise deployment of automated combat units. Proceed! Okay then. Let's try this one here. Clamorous node. Bleep. Bleep. Warning. Scheduled dragon restraint retained due in 2020 years. Failure to verify system integrity may result in unscheduled specimen release. Okay. Okay, where is the last node? Over down here. Bzzz! Function between metallic component detected. Temperature increasing to critical levels. Please replace damaged parts to retreat to a safe distance. Bzzz! Okay then. Well then, we managed to get all the nodes information and whatnot. I'm afraid Instian and I have little to show of our efforts. Did you find anything? Well, I did a node which smelled like a burning hair. Yes, a chirping node which spontaneously warned me about neglecting the dragon restraints. I found a way to activate a mechanical sentry, if that's any help. Let's go with the second one. Spontaneously, you say? Well, that sounds promising. Almost suspiciously so, in fact. But then you were in the process of a spirit... the spirit vessel. I dare say it is indeed the node of which God has spoke. And it was chumpering, you say? Very well, let's take a closer look. Okay, let's take a close look at this node. Where is this node? Is it down here? Oh wait, I passed it. Derp. Bleep! Do you wish to operate the dragon restraints mechanism? Yes. Bleep boop! You don't have the required access privilege. Operation of the dragon restraint mechanism may only be undertaken by the chief technologists and members of the royal family. Well, speaking of which, we have this blood. Would that count as giving me access to this thing? Are those with a vessel full of royal blood, perhaps? How about this? Bleep! New user detected. Commencing biometric authentication. Bloop! Authentication complete. User identified as members of the royal family. Please state your name. Alpha Devere is in Wineblood. Me. Of course, me. Artorias Pendragon. Bloop! Welcome, Artorias Pendragon. We may operate the dragon restraint mechanism when ready. Bleep bloop! Error! Unable to disengage restraints of specimen Tiamat. A system update is required. System update? What do you suppose it is asking of us? We need to give him a new update. Version 3.0. I could hazard a guess. To smash it into pieces. Now that I understand, you can go first. User agitation detected. Initializing guided program. Bloop! In order to operate their state mechanism, I require access to the control system. However, I'm unable to establish a link to said system due to a obsolete of my own software. This issue can be resolved by applying a system updating using the corresponding terminal located within the flagship. So this thing can release restraint or not. It can, but only once it receives a required system update, as far as I can tell. It's like, ugh. Until which time I will float there without spewing nonsense. Until which time it floats there spewing nonsense. User disaffection detected. Initiation location protocols. Bloop. I'm here to help. Rest assured that I will be on hand to guide you through every step of the system's update process. How gratifying! But I dare say we will be fare better with a guidance than without it. Well, yeah, better have him better. Because I'm pretty sure ourselves in this area are not too tech savvy. Alright. Next one. For vengeance! Bloop! Guiding the user to a terminal. This way, please! Boop. Alright. Follow the ass robot. At least it's not that far. Okay, did I pass it? Or was it below here? I think it is below here. Yep. Alright. Let's see. According to the terminal, the central control system is presently employed software version 56.135. Did I ask which version you are employing? Why software version 42.2, of course. Bleep bloop. Warning. Error detected in the data management system. Estimated time required for update 5 years 1 day. We don't have that much of a time. That is rather long than we were hoping. Are there any other options? For instance, using this term to operate TMS restraints instead? Bloop. The proposal method is indeed an option. Perhaps be warned, however, that the procedure might have been changed as a result of the system update, and try instructions may not longer be accurate. And my instructions will not be longer accurate. Well, I can't imagine it would have changed all that much. As long as we pay due attention to any discrepancies, I dare say we will be able to muddle our way through. Don't bother trying to explain. Just tell me if you made any progress. I will say so, yes, it does. However, required that I remain here to operate the terminal. I shall inform you via link pearl once I am ready to release the shackles. It might be best if you left the spirit vessel with me. I may have a use for it, rest assured. I'll be certain to return to Giatia once it is over. Okay. Just, be careful with it. Just a little more work, and TMS will be free. But before we go any further, there is something I would like to know. When Tiamat and her kin fought against the Garlean Empire, both sides were but dancing to the tune of the Asians. And it was the same in Ishgard, when they stoked the fires of conflict between man and dragon from the shadows. All that the Asian touch turns to ash, and thus have you made it our mission to fight them. But there has been times when you tried to reach out to them instead, to find common ground. And so, I must ask, what do you intend to do with Fandaniel? Would you try to reach out to him? Enemy or no, I want to understand him. I will try, yes, and if that fails, I'll remember him. Certainly after I wipe out the smile of his face. I'm gonna go with the third one. Certainly after I wipe that smile off his face. I'd rather put my lance through his heart and be done with it. But perhaps that is the difference between you and me. You see the good in people, even if but the faintest glimmer. I hope you not come to rule your benevolence. You think unwise to view the world thus? Far from it. That error has been your way, as I have learned as we journey together with Iceheart. Yet, the fact remains that there is some who view the companions as a weakness to be exploited, and there may come a time when you extend the hand of friendship only to wish that you would dealt the killing blow. So, save your mercy for those who deserve it. I can understand his point of view. Sure, it's nice and all showing a hand of mercy to your opponent, but there are times, even though you shed some mercy, they will still fight you to the end. Well, we should get back to our task. If Alphanet has things in hand here, I suggest we rejoin the others. Okay. Alright, Alphanet, take care and make sure you protect that blood sample, because I'm pretty sure we won't get another chance of getting that from Great Tia. Alright, so let's get back to down here where Tiamat is. Oh, come on. There we go. Fly ho. Da 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 da. Man, it's been like 3 expansions and she's finally getting herself freed. Been a long time coming. Alright, we're back. Hopefully Apnod can do his thing. Istine told me all is well, but nothing more, honestly. It's like getting blood off a stone with him. I take it for Alphanet's absence that he is needed elsewhere. Well, yeah, because he managed to find this device, but he's there trying to figure out how to remove those set restraints. Well, that sounds rather frustrating. But you got there in the end. While you're off talking to the nodes, Gran and I were learning as much as we could about Tiamat's condition. Our readings confirm that her arterial balance lessened strongly towards the Umbral, which was the case for the kobolds. Therefore, all other things being equal, the treatment should work. The difficulty lies in the sheer qualities of Aether with which we must contend. Manipulating applications of the treatment will undoubtedly be required if we were reverse the effects of the tampering completely. Meaning, I need all the Aether I can get. Thank you in advance. No problem. Although this endeavor will ask much of us, we do have one reason to be optimistic. Namely that Tiamat shows no sign of fractural devotion, suggesting a mild case of tampering than that suffered by the kobolds. Demons saw Bahamut as an equal, rather than the god. Might have made a difference. Now that you mention it, it very well might. She would not believe it necessary to defer to his will. But enough talk. It is time to put our theories to the proof. Tell Afna to disengage the restraints ethereal dampers. Alright. Afna, it's time. I'm counting you, Angelo. Ah, such warmth! The frost that shuddered in my soul doth begin to thaw. But what are these? Visions of the days long forgone of war with man and Allagan. Where their dew shall befall, memories shall return to me now. Could it be that the process of restoring her soul, it is the pre-tempered state, is awakening ancient memories? Or might be the opposite be true? If so, by helping her recall the past, we may be able to speed her recovery. Artorias, she trusts you. Speak to her. Ask her to tell you of times past. Alright. Tell me of your war with the Allagan. Wicked, bloody, thirsty creatures. Not content with their own lands, they brought fire and death to Masidia, our home! The tale begins when Bahamut and I left our father's side. We took wings in search of a place to make our way. Beyond the southern sea, we discovered a lush and fertile land. It would become known as Mercidia by the children of man, though many years we passed before we crossed the sea. Upon our arrival, we were welcomed by peaceful people of the forest kin to the trees. Surrounded by nature bounty, Bahamut and I found a place to raise our young. Fascinating! This correlates with the writings of the Salarian scholar Rushusha. She persists that man first settled on the southern continent towards the end of the second Astral Era. Correctly, it appears, if only she were with us to hear the tale from Tiamat herself. Again, Angelo! When the first children of man arrived on the shores, no foot did they set in those places over which we held dominion. Such was their fear of dragonkind, and as they kept their distance, so did we let them be. Yet as the days went by, ship after ship appeared upon the horizon, bearing even more of their brethren, who divided the vast amount of land among themselves. For a time they knew peace and prosperity, but as their numbers grew, the smaller their share came to seem, and soon they began to convert the territory of their fellows. Ere long man fought man, blood was answered by blood, and none could see an end to the strife, until one day they came to us. Recognizing our wisdom, they entreated us to intercede in their conflict. Bahamut agreed, and with him presiding over the affairs of man, the land knew peace once more. Alas, those golden days of harmony too were fated to end. For the man of Allagan slew my beloved, and I, in my rage and sorrow, heeded the emperor's word of Ascians. The rest thou knows only too well. But the tale doesn't end here. When you're free, We will rid the world of the Asians together, and you and your beloved will have justice. Fine sentiment, but you're almost spent. I'll keep watch from above. If the treatment fails, run! Thanks for the vote of competence. I swear, when this is over... Keep going, Alice. The magic is working. Right.